completely different thought on how this week was going to go. Today I thought when I canceled Thursday's show that we would be out here on Friday doing another practice report. But obviously last night, as LSU rearranged some practices, which is completely obviously up to them, and I have no ill will towards it. It just goes to show how quickly things can change on a dime. I'm sure all of you know why practice was probably a little bit rearranged, because it came on the quote-unquote health status of LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, which we'll get into today. Brian Kelly addressed it before the Joe Sloan interview. We'll talk about the Garrett Nussmeier health status, what BK said, what the issues are around it. Texting a really good buddy of mine who also is a listener of the show and will probably more than likely be in here today listening to the show, asking what the severity of patellar tendonitis is. So we'll talk about that, as Brian Kelly confirmed it is a knee. Didn't even know what knee it was, or maybe he does know what knee, just doesn't want to go out there to the public and tell Clemson exactly what knee it is that is hurting for his starting quarterback. So we'll get into all that, what it means. Brian Kelly does say that Garrett Nussmeier will more than likely be out there for practice situations tomorrow. So whatever that means, did say in the little prequel towards before Joe Sloan that there's no holding him back once he is out there. So we do fully expect him to be out there tomorrow, which can be really good. I want to start off with this. I have been advised of the incident with Savon Miller, who most of you know on Twitter as Von Chrome. Last night, some unspeakable events happened in reference to one of the Tiger Nation's own. I'm not going to go into full detail on what happened in Oklahoma City last night, but my prayers and thoughts are to his family. My prayers and thoughts are to him. Sometimes you just can't sit at home anymore, and crazy stuff starts popping off. But the Tiger Nation lost one of their own. I do pray for Vaughn. I do pray for his family. I pray for a lot of people today on Twitter right now who are close to him that are mourning the loss of a very dear friend. I remember the only interactions I had with Vaughn were in like some Twitter group messages and him sending me some stuff, asking me questions, and always being a loyal guy of AYS. It always saddens me to see someone this young go. And I know a lot of you knew him on Twitter. A lot of you have sent me the things and events that happened last night. So very quickly, I am praying for all of you. I'm praying for him. A very unspeakable act. Just absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely freaking ridiculous. So our prayers are to Tiger Nation, to all those who are mourning the loss of Von Chrome today. All right. We got a lot that we need to get into. Sam Bacon says, let's go. Good to have you in here. Dylan Smith says, viewing from Greece. By the way of the 318, even from Greece. So, yeah, you got to love it. We up here like we're Leonidas. You know what I mean? I mean, Leonidas was a Greek. You know, we're in Spartanville, so you got to love it. Mike says, is this the year LSU wins another national championship? Go Tigers. Well, I don't know that yet. They got a lot that they need to go through, so we'll see. Peyton Gates, what's up, buddy? Says, makes me feel good knowing Nuss been running so much. He got tendonitis. Defenses are in trouble. I don't think that's why he got tendonitis. I'm pretty sure that's not why he got tendonitis, but I'm glad that he's going to be okay. We'll get in that in just a minute. T2 Fresh says he'll be okay. Rest and PT is all he needs. More than likely. Mike T says, viewing from the 919 Raleigh, North Carolina, by the way of the 318-31 great. Yeah, where is everybody listening from today? I know we're live at a very awkward time, but I did think we were going to do a practice report, and yet here we are not doing a practice report. I will tell you some things I heard around practice today. that I cannot confirm nor deny. But we'll be back out there tomorrow as they're giving us practice tomorrow. And then we will be live on Saturday to do another practice report. Tech is in the 804 Richmond, Virginia stand-up. Good to have you in here with us. Marcelo says he's in San Antonio, Texas. Good to have you in here. Been to San Antonio, Texas. I know that Charles Barkley is not a massive fan of San Antonio, Texas. I don't think the women were bad looking in San Antonio. I think Charles is going crazy. Churros were, though, to his point, very delicious. You gotta go to San Antonio. Dylan says, I'm in that 919 Goldsboro, North Carolina, by the way of the 504. Boy, a lot of people in North Carolina and Virginia that are watching the show today. It also makes me think and wonder, with all these people in Carolina and Virginia, why the SEC might be expanding, as Greg Sankey did say, that they might be going into the great state of North Carolina to do such as that. So very interesting. Look at our own show. There you go. Shannon is in the big BR, the 225. Good to have you in here with us. Brassy says Northside, Louisiana. Good to have you with us. Jones says live from the 504. We the 504 boss. I was listening to that working out yesterday. Got to always rep the 504. Chad is in the 337 Lake Charles, Louisiana. Stand up. Good to have you all in here with us. All right, let's get to it here. So Brian Kelly, before Joe Sloan, offensive coordinator for LSU, met with the media. Brian Kelly did meet with the media. It was not recorded. I know some of the media, I only saw Scarborough's video. He did get a video. Brian Kelly, you can go check that out on Twitter. I'm sure Mike posted it on Facebook, but there is a video out there if you want to listen to Brian Kelly and what he said. It's about 3 minutes long. You need to listen to the end. He kind of rips the media a little bit, which is a little funny. But I know that all of Tiger Nation has been holding their breath, as last night I know a lot of people had a lot of questions, and DMs certainly mentioned that, in reference to Garrett Nussmeier, because last night LSU rearranged some practice. We were supposed to have availability today with some camera work stuff. And then tomorrow was supposed to be a viewing only period. Now tomorrow we get to go as today was canceled. We get some media viewing period in reference to film. And then we get to stay at the rest of practice tomorrow. In reference to that, let's just be real. The reason that things were changed was because Garrett Nussmeier was dealing with a little bit of a knee issue. Now, obviously, you know the timeline. The last time we were live on Wednesday, we talked about it at great length, what I thought was going on. Literally, if you were in the show on Wednesday, I said it was of my understanding that he would probably more than likely be back by Saturday at a full capacity. And in that full capacity, we would see what's going on. I did not know exactly what the injury was. And until Brian Kelly went out there and confirmed it, I never was able to get a firm confirmation from anybody what it was. But Brian Kelly did address the Garrett Nussmeier injury today. BK said it's a patella tendonitis. Now, there's a couple of things with that. Number one, the tendonitis does come on a past surgery. I have had two situations with my patella. Number one is when I tore my ACL, I got a patellar tendon graft where they take a part of your patellar tendons, the biggest muscle in your knee, and they reconstruct the ACL. What I would tell you with that is it's painful as shit. When you have the patellar tendon and an issue along with your patellar tendon that goes over the knee, it is painful. The inflammation that comes from it sucks, and it is very tender. It gets to a part where sometimes in this comes down to a pain management issue. As someone who has dealt with this since 2008 and then in 2009 and then in 2010 when I was constantly getting my knee worked on. I'm just going to start from the very beginning. For me, I can speak from experience of what maybe Garrett is going through a little bit. It is painful as a son of a gun. There's no reason to push it. Now, what I would say is, for me, is once you have patellar tendon issues, once you start having a flare-up, the flare-ups in the next couple weeks don't stop. What do I mean by that? Not necessarily pain, but in my experience, the fluid that surrounds the knee can be a little bit much. Garrett might not go through that. I know that I did. If you monitor it, you get treatment, you will be fine. I mean, I could show you my knee right now. I need to go get my knee drained. It's a constant issue. It's always been a constant issue when you have something going on with your patella. Now, in reference to tendonitis, guys, I wake up every morning with patella tendonitis. So I have a really good friend of mine, very close friend of mine, who is a doctor at one of the highest levels in the state of Louisiana. Shout out to the 318 where he has his practice. Reached out to him after Brian Kelly announced that it was patella tendon. And basically he said, Blake, it's a pain management thing. It can be a little bit severe. Doesn't sound like it. I mean, just needs some recovery and rest. So that is some really good insight from a doctor. I'm just speaking from my experience. But let's get back to BK here. Says he was back out there today and doing some throwing. Guys, if it was significant, he would not have been throwing. I'm sorry to say it. I don't know how else to put it. If they were massively worried about it and things didn't come back clean, he wouldn't even be out there throwing. Brian Kelly came out there today and said it was completely precautionary and that we're just taking it as a precautionary measure. On a scale of 1 to 10, how severe it was, it's at a 1.5. So there is no torn ACL. The message boards do what they normally do, and when they're not contained, which Tiger Droppings is never contained. And why some of you go to that god-awful website, I have no clue. But when things aren't contained, things can run rampant. But there is a couple of things. Number one, Garrett got nicked up. And regardless of how severe or how small it is, he did get banged up. So even in the message board, quote unquote, drama, right? Even in the whatever you want to call it, there was some truth to it. Just how it went about was not like that. Now, you could say that, well, if the media was out there and would have saw what happened with Garrett, it might have been just as overblown. Very likely. But it could have also been contained to some extent because the way that it ran rampant was very big. I want to state this too. The way that Brian Kelly handled this today is why he's one of the best head coaches in the country. Going out there before Joe Sloan, not letting his offensive coordinator field and answer any of these questions that he has, quite honestly, no business in fielding, and Brian Kelly having the experience. Brian Kelly has handled this like a champ. Guys, we're just not going to beat up a guy that means so much to us. We're not going to push the limit. I do wonder if Garrett was in any form of quarterback battle, if he wouldn't have gone today at a full clip and full speed. He doesn't need to. You got to protect 13, maybe potentially your number 18, but you got to limit him. That's the thing that you look in this and say to yourself, it's not that big a deal. And it really isn't. You can look over at our good friends over at FanDuel. None of the odds changed. He's still plus 900 to win the Heisman. And if you want to go over to FanDuel, because they are a title sponsor of the show, and bet the plus 900 for Garrett Nussmeier to win the Heisman, go right on in there and do it, because he still looks like he is going to be okay per Brian Kelly. The bottom line is this. The bottom line is this for me. I get to a situation where you look at your quarterback, you look at Garrett, and him being the straw that stirs the drink for you to get to a 10-win regular season, for you to get to the playoffs, and for some of you that are already there, and for any part of this, he's going to be the straw that stirs the drink for us potentially win a national title if we can get there. I think we all know that. I'm glad that Michael Van Buren is here. I think it puts a lot of things into perspective. And Joe Sloan did talk about today his backup quarterbacks and where they're at the current moment. I do think Joe Sloan gave you his opinion on where things stand. Garrett, MVB, Hurley. And that's where we'll go with it when we talk about what Joe Sloan brought up today. But as of Garrett Nussmeier and as things go, it is what it is. Let's get to another point here too. BK said he planted wrong. I saw media today. I don't even know if this guy's media saying that he took a helmet off the knee. Clearly, that's not the case per Brian Kelly. I did reach out to that media member and said I had heard that wasn't the case, which it wasn't. Brian Kelly said he planted wrong, and he had a pissed off patella, and some inflammation happened, and it is what it is. He's fighting through it, and we'll see him back out there tomorrow. Now, I do wonder what tomorrow's day and practice and status looks like. If you want to let him go through 7-on-7, if you want him to go through drills, that's fine. You want to keep him out for 11-on-11, that's fine with me too. I don't know how much on one Saturday practice when you have 3 more weeks that it's going to make a massive difference. All in all said, it's a massive thing that he's not as hurt as people were indicating and as the message boards ran wild. But the main thing is that he's going to be okay. I thought this was handled very well by Brian Kelly. I thought, and even in the situation of, hey, not letting media out there, they want to see how he moves. They want to control the narrative. I think it's smart, really. There's no reason to not want to control the narrative of what's going on with Garrett Nussmeier. And quite honestly, his potential draft status. You don't want to mess with Garrett on anything. You don't want to give Clemson anything more than what they already have, and I'm completely fine with that and good on them for doing it that way. Again, first-class organization being run by first-class people, and they did exactly what they need to do. Again, and I'm only speaking for me, once it flares up once, there's a chance it'll flare up again. When, how it happens, no clue. I know for me, once you get it drained, inflammation normally goes down, and it's normally an every 4 to 6 month ordeal where you're getting it drained again and inflammation pops up. It is what it is, man. It's hot as dog piss out there, and you got to love that he's going to be out there battling. And listen, he's out there battling again today. I think Garrett Nussmeier knows, and the competitive in him is not going to want to sit long, and they're going to try to limit him to make sure, hey, man, are we okay? Let's make sure we're going through all the precautions here, and we'll go from there. So good to see that Garrett Nussmeier is okay. All right. Let's go to it. Cajun Curveball says, but I get not wanting to give credence to a Twitter rumor. Guys, it really wasn't a Twitter rumor. I mean, at least not from where I saw it. Let me tell you how I think this kind of just got started. I saw it posted on a message board, 2 different message boards, basically stating the same thing. And then Twitter just ran with it after the fact. The timestamps on those don't lie when they were posted. It is what it is. We are in a world where, when you have referees at practice, when you have so many people at practice, shit like that's going to leak unless you completely shut it down like Saban. But here's the problem. And I think it's why BK allows media at practice. Even if nobody was there, even if it was just team and it was just teammates, it's going to get out. Something with Garrett Nussmeier, hurt, nicked up, whatever. I don't care who you are, when it happens, how it happens. Guys, it's going to get out. Regardless of it being a message board. See, that's why I haven't really said anything about the message board or how it came out, because it doesn't really matter of how it was going to come out. Now, you want to control the narrative, and there's a lot of different ways you can, and it could have been calmed down and people not running with message board stuff. If this was another player, it probably wouldn't have gone like that. And quite honestly, the situations at hand would have ran differently if it was anybody else on this team not named Garrett Nussmeier. Right? If it were, God knock on wood, if it were an offensive lineman, defensive lineman, corner, safety, running back, guys, all of this, maybe Caden Durham would have been the only other person that we would have kind of been looking at this and just saying to ourselves, maybe it would have been that way. There's just no other player that it would have gone down this way for. Guys, it was going to get out anyway. I think the biggest lie that I've seen some fans make is that it wouldn't get out, because the God's honest truth is it was always going to get out. You're dealing with human beings on arguably the most important player, if not one of the most important players in the SEC, the country, and especially on your team. So regardless of how it got out, it was going to get out anyway. So, yeah. Brandon Reese says at least we still have a few weeks for Nuss to get healthy. Guys, he might be healthy by tomorrow. I mean, normally for me, again, just speaking for myself, tendonitis can be a lingering bitch, but it can also be like for me when would get it drained or do whatever, like 3 days and I was completely okay. I like fine, just, a little sore. But other than that, if I kind of moved the wrong way, would get a little sore, but it wasn't like pain, So I think he's going to be fine. Abby says, I have patella tendonitis because I run triathlons. You can get used to it over time, but it depends on the person as well. No doubt. I think he's going to be fine. All right, let's get moving here. I do highly suggest that y'all go take a look at the odds over at good friends or at and with our good friends over at FanDuel. You can go over there. Listen, if you're in the state of Louisiana, must be 21 years older to place that bet. Go over there. If you have an issue, use all the resources they give to you. If you have a problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or go to FanDuel.com/RG. That's FanDuel.com/RG. I know if Garrett continues to do some of his things that he's doing in fall practice, I might sprinkle a little money on it myself. All right, let's get to a quick break. When we come back, we'll break down what Joe Sloan. We'll talk a lot about the offense and what your offensive coordinator had to say. Before we get rolling, let's talk about our good friends over at Section 103. Guys, go over to section103.com today. Go to the LSU section for the most comfortable apparel that you can get in the LSU section. They are more comfortable than those club seats that you're sitting in. I constantly am wearing their hats, constantly wearing their shirts. I do think they fit fantastic. I think their hoodies are awesome. I think their hats are awesome. I think their T-shirts are awesome. Go over to section103.com today. Get yours now before it's too late. Last month, for you to be able to use the promo code AYS to get 10% off of your order. Again, section103.com. Use that promo code AYS to get 10% off of your order. Also, every episode is brought to you by our good friends over at ServiceHawk Digital Media. With the right lead, smart systems, and real growth, get a marketing system that works for you today. Go to servicehawk.io. That's servicehawk.io. If you're an HVAC, electrical pro, generator pro, if you run a business, if you own a business, you know that you need marketing and you need elite marketing to be able to grow that business. If you need somebody to give you those right leads and the real growth that you're looking for in the greater Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and all of Louisiana area, you need to go over to ServiceHawk Digital Media today. That's servicehawk.io. Fill out that little questionnaire, the business you're in and everything that you do. Let them know that Blake sent you on by too, if you don't mind. I've been in the marketing media game for quite some time now, and I'm telling you, there is nobody better in the business than our good friends Justin and Lee over at ServiceHawk. Let them know Blake sent you too. All right, let's get rolling here. Let me get to another quick break. We come back. We break down Garrett Nussmeier. We talk about what Joe Sloan said. We field your thoughts, questions, concerns after that. Stay with us. Oh, by the way, hold on. Pause. Brandon, don't hit the commercial. Everybody do us a favor during the break. Hit the like and share. Share to all those groups if you're on Facebook and to all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe. Now we're going to a quick break. We'll come back and talk about what Joe Sloan had to say about the offense. Next, stay with us.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Hey guys, I want to tell you about our good friends over at Red Stick Financial. They're your local residential mortgage broker located right here in the heart of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. At Red Stick Financial, they find the bank that works for your particular set of needs to purchase the home of your dreams or refinance the current one. They truly are your partners in this process, and they pride themselves in helping individuals and families with one simple goal in mind, and that is to make home financing approachable, attainable, and stress-free. They are licensed in all Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi. So from Amarillo to Meridian and everything in between, they have you covered. Red Stick Financial brings you creative, customized solutions, and they don't believe in the one-size-fits-all when it comes to loans. They even have special options for mobile and manufactured homes located in a flood zone and stated income financing for those of us who are self-employed borrowers. If you or someone you know is looking to buy a home, refinance an existing mortgage, or simply want to know what options are out there for your future, give Red Stick Financial a call today at 225-407-9250. That's 225-407-9250. Or check them out online at redstickfinancial.com. That's redstickfinancial.com. Before you purchase the home of your dreams or you go and do that refinance, you need to go local. Go Red Stick.
We're back.
All right. Wilson Alexander of The Advocate is breaking some news here, so let's get to it. Per Wilson Alexander of The Advocate, Julie Cromer, the athletic director of Ohio University since 2019, is going to be the new AD-COO at LSU, replacing Kelly Zinn. Looks like LSU has also announced the move on Twitter, and it seems as if that they already had this move ready to go. But Julie Cromer is going to be the new COO, replacing Kelly Zinn, who did go with William Tate to Rutgers to fill their AD spot. Congratulations to her. Listen, I'll give Scott this. Scott has definitely hired people around him, especially strong female personalities, that two of them who have been in this COO role are now sitting ADs, one at the Power 4 level and another in Nevada. So congratulations to Julie. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot that comes out on her, but good that they were able to move quickly and swiftly, and it seems as if that Scott Woodward has always had a plan. But Wilson Alexander of The Advocate reporting a highly decorated athletics director, and she is a proven leader, the executive deputy athletic director and chief operating officer for LSU athletics. Hopefully she can come in and she meets with all the coaches, and maybe she gives Jay Johnson a little bit more money than maybe that he's getting this year. That's all I'm going to say. She needs to definitely work on that. Okay, let's get to it here. We will get your thoughts, questions, concerns at the end. You know what it is. If you do have a super chat, we will read all of those at the end. LSU Monster, I don't know. I don't know what you're trying to come in here and do. I really don't. I really don't, bud. Just relax, okay? LSU offensive coordinator Joe Sloan met with the media today, and I think the biggest thing that he said today was that Aaron Anderson, the wide receiver, who had been out a couple of practices because he also had tendonitis in his knee, is back out and was a full go at practice today. That's arguably the biggest thing that he said. I think that, listen, we talked about this whole Aaron Anderson news and what it meant. Guys, he was out there standing next to Cortez Hankton every single day with a play sheet in hand, getting mental reps. From my vantage point, outside of maybe a couple of times, Aaron Anderson was always out at practice. The day that he did not show up at practice, day 2, you and I had a conversation about this, that, guys, he was always out there. I know that a very fabricated report came out saying that he wasn't at practice. He's always been at practice, always standing next to Cortez Hankton. At least that's what these two eyes saw, always with a play sheet and going through plays and taking mental reps with your wide receivers coach. Was back out and full go today. Guys, Brian Kelly even addressed this in one of his press conferences as well, stating the fact that, listen, we are just not going to push Aaron. We know what he can do. When it's a full go, it's a full go, and we'll let him go. And he was a full go today. I would assume on Wednesday, Aaron was also, I don't want to say limited, but if I were a betting man, I would assume that he was out there taking some 7-on-7 reps and some individual drill reps as well, and was a full go today. So there's really nothing, in my opinion, that Joe Sloan said today from a significant standpoint other than in reference to health that Aaron Anderson was a full go. Now, diving deeper into some of the things that Joe Sloan said that I think that we need to break down and talk about. Number one, and these are not in any specific order, just things that caught my eye and things they talked about. Number one of the last questions that Joe Sloan was asked about was about the defense. Well, Blake, why in the world is the offensive coordinator being asked about the defense? Well, because he's going up against his own defense every single day, and to get his understanding and thoughts about where things stand. Now, I know Joe Sloan kind of made a little bit of a joke saying that, listen, this defense, I feel like, is playing very fast, much faster than what they did a season ago. There's just a lot of simple things that they're doing, but they do it at such a high level that it's, even when they adjust, it's making us adjust and it's making us better. Some simple things, but flying all around the football. There was one thing that Joe Sloan said today that I think is very key in reference to this LSU defense. Fast, twitchy guys in the interior. The guy that he's talking about there is Bernard Gooden. Now, he didn't come out and use his name. He didn't say his name, but that is exactly who he's talking about. In that, he's basically also being asked about the offensive line. And in this conversation piece and the things that he said today, from my vantage point, is a couple of things. Number one, I think that he knows, and we can all see that anybody that's out there, from an athleticism standpoint, defensively in your front seven, you're just bigger, stronger, faster. I don't think that is actually, you know what? I'm just going to put my foot down and draw the line in the sand, or line in a concrete and let it dry, because this is just the truth. Whether they are better statistically or not better statistically, without a shadow of a doubt, you are more athletic and built differently in your front seven than you've been under Brian Kelly ever. I think that from a defensive end standpoint, from an interior tackle standpoint, from a lot of different standpoints, you are bigger, faster, stronger, and it's starting to show up. I understand it can look different because you have 4 new offensive linemen, and that's very fair. But you can look at guys running from years past and go see guys running around now and can definitely see that there's a complete difference. It's not just one guy at edge like you had in 2022 with your number 18 and B.J. Ojolari. It's not a Braden Swinson situation like you had last year. Guys, you have multiple. And that is a bona fide fact. You have some guys in the interior that are really taking it to this offensive line. Joe Sloan's answer in reference to this defense, I think, is spot on. Listen, man, they're taking it to everybody right now. They're taking it to us right now. And he didn't say that, but bringing up the interior defensive line is definitely what he's bringing there about fast, twitchy guys. Alongside that, and we'll talk about the offensive line next, which Joe Sloan said, he basically confirmed to you from his viewpoint that he thinks that you're pretty settled at tackle. And in the settlement of tackle, it begs the question for me, which he would bring up later, about Carius Kern being moved to guard. He said there's a lot of competition going on at guard right now. And guys, quite honestly, it's a bona fide fact. From what we've seen in a week and a half plus, I think a couple of things can be determined based off of the comment defensively and based off of the comment about what's going on at guard. It feels pretty solidified right now that your left tackle is going to be Tyree Adams. Your center is going to be Braylon Moore, who everybody, defensively, offensively, head coach, all have really liked what they've seen from the transfer from Virginia Tech at center, Braylon Moore. And right tackle, I don't want to say it's locked because anything can happen in 3 weeks. Hell, guys, your quarterback, quote unquote, went down, and anything can change, and anything can change in a blink of an eye. But it does feel like, barring injury or barring something absolutely unforeseen happening, that you do have 3 of the 5 offensive linemen set. It does feel that they are trying to ramp up this guard competition, and I do not believe anybody is safe. Brian Kelly has not confirmed anybody is safe. And Joe Sloan, with all due respect to those guys that play guard, it would seem as if Joe Sloan's saying the same exact thing. Because, guys, it's not. Josh Thompson, G.J. Chester, none of it. It is of my humble opinion that they got to find somebody in there. And for me, I would try to put Carius Kern into that rotation just to see what happens. Again, that's my opinion. You got a strong, physical, freaky dude that legitimately we've seen do some very wild things athletically for his size, his weight. Shit, guys, even for just a normal human being. I mean, he's freaky athletic. We'll see. We'll see. If you're asking me, I think that they got to find their two guards quickly because you got to find out what you have. I think you need to rotate as much as they're in there. And as Joe Sloan pretty much confirmed today, they're rotating a lot of guys in there. I will bring this up along the offensive line as we start transitioning into that as well. Joe Sloan was asked about the freshmen and guys that are standing out to him. Obviously, Harlem Berry is going to stand out because, guys, he's getting a lot of reps with the first team, and they're bringing in all three running backs in and out of there from I don't want to say alarming rate, but a massive rate. Harlem Berry's gotten more reps as a freshman than anybody on this team with the first team. I know, and a quick side note, I know that there has been some sentiment about what's happening with DJ Pickett. Because DJ Pickett has not run with the first team. Not this fall camp. Not in the media viewing that we've been given. That does not mean that DJ Pickett does not I'm not saying he doesn't start against Clemson, that he doesn't play against Clemson. But right now, there is nobody on this team taking more reps as a true freshman with this first unit more than Harlem Berry. So clearly he's standing out to Joe Sloan. The second person that he brought up was Carius Kern, saying that the guys that he's going up against as a true freshman, and Will Campbell and Emory Jones making it look easy, that we just kind of get numb to the fact that freshmen have done it before. The fact he's bringing it up, to me, strictly opinion, I think that you're in a situation that I would almost guarantee that there are conversations inside that building if they needed to move 57 to guard. Again, I know I keep preaching about this, but guys, you got to find interior presence that can do something. I don't care if you try him out at left guard. I don't care if you try him out at right guard. I don't care where you try him out in the interior besides center. So there's only two positions. You got to find a spot. You got to see what it looks like. That's the only two that he really went in great detail on. And that should tell you everything that you need to know as of right now. Again, in 3 weeks, can so many things change? Then yeah. Jay, I see your comment. I guarantee you for a fact that nobody outside of Harlem Berry is running with the first team. I will make it a point to ask the media tomorrow when we're on the sidelines if number 3 is taking reps with the first team. He is not. I promise you it's not. No, he is not. Why would I care if he plays over Ashton Stamps or not? The 3 DBs, the 3 corners, when they were in 3 actual corners out there, has been P.J. Woodland, Mansour Delane's in the slot, and Ashton Stamps is on the other side. You know what? Ask Blake Baker when he comes out there next week. He could easily take reps tomorrow. As of right now, with the first unit, number 1 is constantly on the field during 11-on-11 period. I promise you. I legitimately will debate this with anybody on this beat. It's what's happening. Can all of that change in 3 weeks? Can it change tomorrow? Yes. We were out of practice on Tuesday. On Wednesday, Garrett got quote-unquote hurt. I'm telling you. No true freshman is taking more reps than Harlem Berry with a first-team unit. It doesn't exist. It simply doesn't exist. I don't care what anybody says. Guys, I have no skin in the game or fight on this. I'm telling you. You know what? This is what I'll do. If we're given a period tomorrow with the first team when we can film, I'll make it a point. You know what? Outside of Garrett Nussmeier tomorrow, I'm going to make it a point for DB because it's not happening. It's just not happening. I promise you. Now, the only time I saw DJ with the quote-unquote first team was when P.J. Woodland's helmet got knocked off and they moved Mansour into the slot. It's not happening. Anyway, in reference to this offensive line, man, I think all of you know it's been the level of concern. You got to figure something out there. I don't think this is all on Joe Sloan. Joe was asked about the offensive line and the run game. In reference to the run game, let's bring this up. He said, during the offseason, we looked at schematics. Let's stop right there. I don't know if they did or didn't because they're doing a lot of the same stuff. I do think that there's a part of this in reference to the schematics in reference to personnel. Let me explain. I don't think that there was any schematic issue when sometimes that you're running basic inside zone, right or left. It wasn't a schematic issue. It was a personnel issue a season ago. He did talk about that I'm not going to really lean on or talk about last year's running game. Well, you should because it's the biggest problem that you had outside of turnovers a season ago. You need to lean in on it. He was asked about schematics. Guys, I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand the question, right? Like, I understand some of the schematic questions in reference to, hey, why are you running to the short side of the field? Meaning, why do you have a tight end on the left side and a running back on the left side and you're running to the right? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. If it was that kind of schematical question, in reference to some of the things that they've done in camp, inside, outside zone, some zone reads, some draws, there's really nothing more innovative that they've done. There's been some situations where they've motioned Xavier Thomas into the backfield. They've thrown him a screen. They've handed him the ball off. A couple of different speed sweeps, a couple of different things that they've done, not at a high rate. Maybe once, maybe at the max, twice per practice, maybe. But other than that, they've done inside and outside zone. Outside of that, and some draws. Outside of that, guys, the truth of the matter is that you're just getting beat at guard. And you're getting beat in the interior. I don't know what else you can do other than trying to give some other guys some looks. Is it Carius Kern? Is it Paul Mabanga? Is it Cohen Eccles? Is it Tyler Miller? Guys, I have no clue. I have no clue who you try to run out there to make sure to see if you can get some different combinations going on. But the bottom line remains is outside of some of these explosive runs, which you've had some explosives, and I know Sloan brought that up. Outside of some of those explosives, quite honestly and quite frankly, I mean, it's just been a defensive one period over and over and over and over again. That, I think the interior of our offensive line right now, again, can change at a high level through 3 weeks. It would seem to me that your biggest weakness on this team right now is the interior of that offensive line. We'll see as they progress. I know Sloan talked about it. In the run game, Sloan was asked about it. He didn't really answer any of the question, or didn't really get to the question in reference to what he did schematically different. He said that him and Alex Atkins and Brad Davis are a very close-knit unit, and they constantly are bringing up innovative ideas was the words that he used. They're going to need it if they can't run the ball. Is the innovative idea to throw the ball out of the backfield? Is it to get Harlan Berry in space? Is it to get Caden Durham in space? That I don't know. But if you're throwing the ball out of the backfield and it goes for 5 and you're running the end zone for 5, it really doesn't bother me how you're doing it unless you're just doing it. We've seen so many great offensive coordinators. When they can't run the ball, it's what they do. Steve Sarkisian being the biggest of that. I mean, he literally did that against Ohio State every single drive. I mean, like, go back and watch that game. Oh, you want to stack the box? We can't run the ball. I'm just going to throw the ball for 5 yards, and there's nothing you can do for it. Nothing you can do about it. I'm going to keep doing this and getting in 2nd and 5, 3rd and 2, and getting in short and manageable situations. It's how they got back and down to the 1-yard line when it got to it. Then he finally called a run play, and it backfired on his ass. Completely backfired on him. So we'll see. Based off of what we've seen Alex Atkins do in the past, in reference to counter runs, I don't know if the counter run was a Mike Norvell thing or if it was an Alex Atkins thing. If it's an Alex Atkins thing, I have not seen anything from the Florida State run game as Alex Atkins being the coordinator from there that is translated over to LSU. Can they just be running basic inside zone stuff? And then when they get into the game against Clemson, they're running a lot of counter? Yeah. I mean, maybe they're just trying to get the basics down. I do not know. But I haven't seen it. So we'll see on that. Sloan, a couple of quick notes, said that he thought a lot of guys have made big steps. He thinks that this unit is a lot more close. Let me stop right there. I agree with him. I was told yesterday that majority of the offense and majority of the defense spent the entire day together yesterday. I think the leadership from your quarterback and Garrett Nussmeier, and I think the leadership from Harold Perkins has been different this year than it was last year. Here's what I'd say about last year that's different than this year. Last year, I think your leaders, guys like Will Campbell and others, they were leaders not so much vocally as they were by the personalities they were of just showing by their actions. Right now, again, doesn't lead to wins and losses. Right now, Harold Perkins and Garrett have been your biggest leaders on this team. Doing some of the things that Harold and Garrett have done and trying to bring the unity into this place is night and day different from this point last season to it is this one. Talking to many people that are in that building, the biggest or people that were in that building last year versus and are in the building this year. The biggest difference is not the personnel. The biggest difference is not what you have on the offense and defensive lines. I think the biggest difference so far that stands out to most people that were there last year and this year, and it's in every conversation that I have with people that are in that building, are simply this. Guys, the leadership is just a lot different. And it's built a lot different. And it's built mainly on the back of what's been happening during camp on number 13 and number 7 shoulders. I don't know if y'all are like this. I buy into that so much more than maybe some. Because at the end of the day, this is the ultimate team game. Guys, last year, I will be real with you, I thought your locker room was a little bit fractured, to be real with you. I don't think that you had ultimate leaders. I think you had people that yelled at one another when times got tough instead of being a leader. I think the reason things changed the way that they did after Perkins went down and they didn't have somebody to get in someone's face and be a leader is why some things changed a season ago. I will leave that there. Guys, when Harold Perkins made his way back and was on the sidelines and at practices, LSU did not lose another game because the accountability piece was there. I think Garrett and Harold have done a lot of big, mature things to like, hey, man, these guys after practice can go do a lot of different things. Being together, as I was told, as much as they were yesterday, is a big deal to me, and I buy into that. So I do think that Joe Sloan is hitting on something. It will get missed by most. It does not get missed by me. Sloan also brought up Nick Anderson, the wide receiver out of Oklahoma. Said he's had a really good camp. If you're asking me at the current moment, I've brought this up multiple times. as of right now, from what we've seen, I think that you're 4 to maybe 5 receivers right now that have been in the rotation the most. Since Nick Anderson has been back, it has been him. Obviously, Aaron Anderson is going to be there. Chris Hilton is going to be there as well. Xavier Thomas has been out there a lot. And then Barryon Brown. And Kyle Parker. I mean, no one's benefited more from really Aaron being out more than Kyle Parker, really. Those are kind of your 5. If you ask me to put who are your starting quote-unquote 4 that have been out there the most and have run the reps the most and have been with the ones the most, it has been Nick Anderson, it has been Chris Hilton, it has been Aaron Anderson. And then sometimes Barryon spells somebody, mostly Chris or Aaron, depending on the formation of what they're doing, or Nick Anderson if they want to go deep. That is the unit that they've run out there. I think Sloan did a pretty good job today in reference to him talking about, listen, we got a lot of different weapons and we got to utilize them in a lot of different ways. What he means by that is what I think we've seen all camp offensively. I brought this up a couple of times at receiver. At receiver, based off of what they're going to run, different personnel packages at receiver comes in. It reminds me a lot of early days of Sean Payton with Lance Moore, how they would use Jeremy Shockey, how they use Devery Henderson, things of that nature. Guys, Devery Henderson was not your number 2, but damn, he played a lot in different packages, in different situations. I think about that, and I think about how much they rotated in and out of that receiving core. It's kind of been what's happening here, really. Based off the formation, based off of what they're calling, based off of what they're doing, the formations change. In reference to Nick Anderson, I agree. I think he's had a really good camp, as Joe Sloan brought up in his press conference today. And I think the only thing that you can continue to do is see him take a big step. Guys, he is your only big body receiver. Everyone's around 6'1" or shorter. I mean, you need him for those big-bodied situations. What I'd say in that, there have been a lot of times that Trey'Dez Green's been in these formations and he's been out wide. That is his best position because he's a physical nightmare for everybody. See what happens with Trey'Dez Green, but I agree with him that Nick Anderson has been a big addition. I'm going to skip the Garrett Nussmeier conversation because I'm going to get to that last. Sloan did say there was tons of reflection. He did talk about the utilizing of players that we talked about there, but he also brought up Chris Hilton to kind of wrap up this receiver room. He said he's been consistent. He attacks it a lot differently than we've seen in years past, meaning practice, and it's a big deal when you can attack vertically. He also said his body language was a lot different. Yeah, because he knows that you're going to have to play him. And he's made the statement. Guys, if Chris Hilton stays healthy, I think he's going to have a really good year. Guys, the dude that didn't catch a pass for 11 or for 10 weeks, and then he came back, and then I guess we expected him because we needed him to be big. Timing was off. A lot of things were off. You saw how it got at the end of the year, and things got better. Again, I thought Chris had a massive camp a season ago, and then he got hurt the last week of camp and then didn't play during the season. I guess we'll see there. I guess we'll see. Bottom line remains on Chris Hilton. I do think that if he does stay healthy, that Gus, let's get to it. I guess I'll put my foot in the sand or line in the sand on this one too. He is the fastest person on your team. I know what a lot of you are going to say, Blake, what about Jelani Watkins? Guys, they've raced. I told y'all about that, and y'all all call a lot of you called me a liar. He by far is the fastest dude on this team. It is not close. Jelani's a lot like him in a lot of ways. I just think Chris has a lot more experience on him, so it makes it a lot different. The way he just stretches the field is so good for this offense. And I think that Barryon Brown is trying to compete with Chris Hilton in some of these situations, and right now Chris has beat him. All right, last but not least, let's get to quarterbacks. Joe Sloan was asked about Garrett Nussmeier, and he said what they both have learned. He brought up the run game first. What's interesting about that is if you watched any postgame show or you watched any show during the season last year, there was a speculation and opinion that I had that I could not confirm. I think Sloan confirmed it today. I think there were a lot of times last year that Garrett checked out of run plays. And I think there were times that he checked or should have checked out of a run that the defense was based off of the run that they had called, should have gone to the other side or something else should have been called. And it wasn't. Guys, sometimes, and I think about this in 2018 as an example, the Nick Brossette against Miami long run was as Orgeron said, was a fade route to Justin Jefferson that Burrow called a run play on because they only had 4 guys in the box. In that, when you have numbers and you have numbers in the run game, you got to be able to counteract that. You got to be able to make sure that you can run the ball, even if it's for 5 yards, that when you have numbers, that you run it. Sloan brought up today that me and Garrett have larked a lot on the run game, quote unquote. I think that is to check in when they have favorable numbers. And if he sees something and guys start bailing out, for him to call his own number and get 7 yards and get down. Because if teams are going to bail out like they did a year ago and not respect Garrett running the football, you gotta build off of that. You got to build off. If nobody respected Garrett running the football. Saying that we spent a lot of time in that is really critical. He also said that he has full control on things that he sees out there. I guess we'll see. And he said, obviously, he knew a lot that he had to do. This is just him having to go out there and play and correct a lot of these wrongs, which I agree. So we'll see. Does seem per Sloan that Michael Van Buren is going to be your second quarterback, and they'll continue to compete there. For what it's worth, I agree with a lot with what Joe said. I think we see a lot of the same things the same, and we'll go from there. But they do got to get to pick this run game up. All right, let's get to a couple comments before we get out of here. Donovan says, Blake, as someone who played the position at a college level, how hard do you think it would be for Kern to step in as a day one starter? Very tough. I don't think what Will Campbell and Emory Jones did is just like, I don't think it's normal. I don't think it's normal. So, because it's not normal. It's not normal. So we'll see. That's kind of why I want to see him now. Who asked that question? Whoever asked the question, it's not normal. Alexander Taylor says inside zone after first down incomplete was so predictable. Very much was. Very much was. Pierce Lee says Chris Hilton's supremacy. We need him. I mean, you just need him to stay healthy and be out there because he changes everything that you do, guys. Literally he does. Every formation, every scheme, everything a defense does, because, guys, he's running 24 freaking miles an hour. Guys, he's closer to 24 miles an hour than he is to 23 miles an hour, damn near. I mean, there was somebody 20, what was it? 23.57, whatever it was. The GPS clocked him at. Guys, that is insane. That's 4.2 level speed. Even if you double covered him and you got enough time for Garrett, it literally can be sometimes throw that sumbitch as far as you can and see if number 3 can go and get it. I know it sounds stupid, but it's the truth. Because they're not going to be able to outrun him. If you shade him, if you don't shade him, good luck. And if you do shade him, other guys got to get open. And you're leaving the middle wide open when you do that. So he just changes so many things for this offense. Pegasus says Nick Anderson is the one wide receiver I'm interested to see. Big, freaky athlete. Can't wait to see what they do with him. I agree. He's looked really good. And listen, man, I don't know. You know, could LSU do something completely different 3 weeks from now? Yes. I just don't know if Nick Anderson's going to be a change in any of that. Like I'm starting to ask if, look, Nick Anderson's just going to start for you and you're going to have to get over it. Like it, love it, or not. Our good friend Frank Castle, thank you, Frank, with a $20 super chat says, we could have gotten us hurt, quote unquote. Let's hope that closed call lights a fire under this O-line and they take that to heart. Playing with more care, anger, and passion will help compensate for their struggles. Frank, there's a couple of things here. I agree with you. I hope it does. Like, hey, man, if it was a scare, and I think it sent shockwaves because your guy went down. He wasn't hit though. I mean, I'll just tell you, he wasn't hit. BK did not share anything when he said he tweaked it. I mean, he stepped wrong and he aggravated it, and it is what it is. But I think it put into question, into light for a lot of people, like, shit, man. Shit. Like you can't have 13 go down and think that this is going to be a great situation. I agree with you on, I hope that this offensive line gets a sense of urgency to some extent. I will say this, Frank, as we close the show out here, I will say this. I do think there's a couple of things that can be true. Number one, I think that they are competing at a very high level, and they are battling their asses off. They are giving you everything they got, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. They're giving you all the effort they can. Just sometimes they're not. It's not been great in reference to the outcome. I hope it does light a fire under their ass, though, big dog. I do. All right. We will be live tomorrow. We will be doing a post-practice report. I hope to see you all there. Until then, glad Garrett's okay. Got to listen to Joe Sloan, and we'll just go from there. We'll see y'all soon. Y'all have a good day, man. Peace.